Okay. Let's talk movies. Let's talk romantic movies. Let's talk romance. Let's talk love. Let's talk Sylvie's Love on Amazon. Amazon Prime got a movie called Sylvie's Love, and I watched it. So let's talk about it for a minute. We're gonna talk about it. Just this is the these are the sessions where we just talk from the top of the head, which is just raw, straight conversation, and we're gonna do it right now here on Film Fan. Sylvie's Love. Now, I don't watch love stories. I gotta be honest with you. It's just not my thing, especially black love stories, like black romance. You know, I mean, Boomerang is my favorite romantic comedy of all time. So I ranked that one as really high up. And then like all the Tyler Perry stuff and like Loving Basketball wasn't that bad. Loving Basketball was okay. And The Best Man was okay. Not The Best Man 2, but The Best Man was okay. Loving Basketball was all right. There's a few here and there. Jason's Lyric back in the day. But a lot of them, I just don't. It's just, it's the same cast and Morris Chestnut and Taye Diggs and Sanaa Lathan and Gabrielle Union. It's like the same group. Morris Chestnut. Did I say Morris Chestnut? Well, he's in there. Boris, Kojo, and Shamar Moore, all these brothers and the same sisters up in the same, these beautiful people. But usually the scripts are trite and it's just kind of like same old shit. And this dude is doing this with this woman and something's wrong with that woman and the black man and the black woman and he ain't right and she ain't right. And it's just, usually it's just not my thing. So, but this I actually enjoyed. This I like. This was a little different. This didn't push that whole shucking and jiving black love bullshit. I thought this was pretty good. What you thought? You thought this was pretty? I thought this was pretty good. People sometimes ask me who I'm talking to off screen. Then it's my producer. I guess I don't even know what to call you, dog. But like sometimes I need assistance, so I have someone assisting me on that side of the screen. That's all that is. Let's talk about this movie. I got notes right here. I don't like memorizing shit, so I figure, I'll just do the channel and just talk. And I got the screen. It makes it easier for me to tape, to be honest with you. A lot of times I'm doing this shit and I try to memorize this and I go back and forth and figure, oh, fuck it. I just jump cut shit around and nobody will notice. But I find it easier just to talk with you as if I'm doing a podcast where I'm just talking and I'm looking at my notes. Written and directed by Eugene Ash. See how easy that was? You know who it's written and directed by now. I just told you, and I didn't fuck it up. I didn't flub it. Starring Tessa Thompson and Nnamdi Asomugha. This brother got a crazy name that I had to put phonetically. I had to spell it out because I might have messed his name up if I spelled it like the regular way. So Nnamdi Asomugha. Now, if I was trying to memorize that, I'd probably fuck it up and have to do multiple takes. But see, we're doing it my way. It world premiered at Sundance back in January 2020. It takes place in New York City during the early 60s. Now, Nnamdi Asomugha plays Robert, who is a jazz saxophone player in a local band called the Dickie Brewster Quartet. Now, just a little piece of information. I did a take of this before. I did a regular take of this, okay? And I fucked that up, the Dickie Brewster Quartet. I called it the Dickie Brewster Sextet or whatever, some shit I did. I messed it up. But anyway, that's why we're doing it this way this time. Tessa Thompson plays Sylvie, a young woman with... I'm going to read to you what I wrote. That's basically what we're doing here, okay? Tessa Thompson plays Sylvie, a young woman with aspirations of one day working in television production who temporarily works in the record shop owned by her father. See that? Now you know what Tessa Thompson's character is doing and you know what happens in the movie. Now I'm going to go to talk a little bit more. Now, one afternoon, Robert, that's the brother, he wanders into the record shop and finds Sylvie. He actually spots her through the window and it's pretty much love at first sight for both of them. He goes into the record shop. He goes in to get a record. And of course, he flirts with Sylvie. And upon seeing him, she's obviously equally as smitten. See, I wrote the word smitten. I might have forgotten to put the word smitten in there had I not read it here. If I was doing this freestyle off the top of the head, I probably would have forgotten the word smitten. I know what the word smitten, I wrote it. I'm just simply saying that I probably wouldn't have used the word smitten had I done this off the top. Let's just move on. Robert notices that there's a help wanted sign and he applies for the job in the record store. And then she explains to him that, look, there's really not a job here. It's kind of like trickery because my parents want to make it seem like we can afford to hire somebody. And so it's not really a job and they wanted her there and she's not really there. She wants to work in television one day, but she's there temporarily. Anyway, the father comes up from downstairs, meets the young man, instantly shakes his hand, kind of hits it off with the brother, and he hires him, rips up the help wanted sign and hires the guy. He's in, right? I thought that was a little quick. Father just instantly took a liking to this guy, which is cool. The father is cool. Actually, the father is the brother that he plays the concierge, the guy in John Wick movies. Brother is mad smooth, mad good, great actor. I should have his name, right? Didn't put his name here. I'll look it up later. Anyway, they find themselves working together now because he goes to work. So he's like, I'll see you tomorrow. So he shows up at work. Now they're working together. And there's always tension when you're working with somebody that you want to fuck. I mean, when you're working with someone that you like, or when you're working with someone that you're attracted to, there's always some kind of tension and some kind of bullshit there. So sure enough, there's that thing. Now, they wind up getting locked in the basement because the door is broken. So they kind of set that up in the beginning because the father explains that if you lock this door from down here, you're going to get locked in. So sure enough, you can kind of see that fucking coming from a mile away. It's very predictable, but they get locked in together and they sit on the steps and they talk about music and flirt with each other a little bit. Now, here's the thing. Sylvie is actually engaged. She got a man. Sylvie got a man. Sylvie is engaged to a brother that is, it's kind of like one of those arranged marriage kind of things. Not like she went and found somebody, fell in love and whatever. It's not that kind of thing. It was like a debutante ball thing where the girls get dressed up and then like the prominent families or the they try to pair off the young men of, success and high station with the young women who are eligible. That's what that is. So she got hooked up with some dude. He's not here. He's in Korea. So she's kind of left alone right now. And that's where Robert gets to slide in. So Robert kind of comes in and now she's feeling herself like, hey, you know what? I like this guy. So they kind of fall for each other. And it's kind of, you can see it. You can see it on screen. You can see that they are attracted to each other and it's hard to kind of not look at each other. They like each other and that's what's going on. That's basically what this movie's about. Now, I'm not going to give you spoilers. I'm not going to say things. I'm not going to, go through a whole bunch of shit, but let me continue with my notes so I don't mess anything up. So basically one night, Robert invites her to one of his gigs in the jazz club. I told you in the beginning, he plays sax in the Dickie Brewster Quartet. See, now I got it memorized. He invites her to a gig. She winds up showing up. She shows up with her cousin because you know how women do. They always bring somebody with them, like to kind of like a buffer, make sure they don't do anything wrong, like make sure they keep something between them and the brother and get naked and all that shit. So she brought her cousin with her. Her cousin though is kind of like, she seems a little fast, but she's played by Aja Naomi. What's this girl's name? Aja Naomi King. Gorgeous woman. Good Lord. Anyway, beautiful brown sister, chocolatey brown too. Very nice. And she brings her cousin. They hang out. They watch the whole thing. Then when that ends, Robert ends up walking her home to her steps. And then there's like some exchange. You know how it is. She's a brother trying to get a kiss. He lays some lines on her. She offers, they do the whole kiss thing. And you can see these guys, these two are going to fall in love. You can just see it. You can see that they got a thing. It's going to happen. It's going to go where it goes. Again, no spoilers. I'm not going to tell you a whole bunch. Let me just give you my take. Let me tell you what this is. This is a good old-fashioned, I'm going to tell you what I wrote. It's just a good old-fashioned romantic love story. It's got some twists, some setbacks, some moments of drama, and a few minor subplots. But overall, it's just about Sylvie and Robert. That's what it is. What I love is it's not overburdened with bullshit. There's not a whole lot of... It's not hampered by a bunch of extra subplots and moving too far into this and that and exploring their characters and too far. It's more about them in the moment. And that's what makes this a really good movie, a good romance. It's what it's what romance is. You have blinders on when you fall for someone like that. You don't see anything extra. You're not really caught up in anything extra. At least back then you were. Like that's the way it was back in the day. Before like social media and all the bullshit that's happening today and the way romance is today, there is no romance today. Like you can't follow someone home and sing outside their doorstep. They call the cops on you for shit like that. You can't holler at somebody and say, hey, I like you. Otherwise that's considered stalking. So like this is during the romantic time and this is what it is. It's stripped down to all the bullshit and it's just two people who are saying, hey, I like you. You like me too? Yeah, I like you too. And they just look at each other and they fall in love. That's what this whole thing is. There's a bunch of shit going on. Again, she's engaged. So where the husband comes back. The way this whole thing works is Robert goes off to Paris, and then the husband comes back, and I'm not giving you spoilers. I'm just telling you the basics. Husband comes back because there are some little details that I'm not sharing with you. I'll let you find out what those things are on your own. But yeah, so the husband comes back, and what I really like about this, let me say this. They didn't make the husband, they didn't make him an asshole. They could have made the brother an asshole. He's somewhat of an asshole, but he's not a full asshole. And you learn later that you actually kind of feel a little bit for him. But I think it would have been easy for the writer to make him totally like just deplorable, or make him like a guy that it was an arranged marriage and he was abusive or he was bad. Because then you would kind of like, it would just be easier for her to be falling for someone else. But he doesn't do that. He kind of sets it up that way, and you think it's going to go that way. And the guy does seem like he's kind of whatever, but he's really not a bad guy. He's lost in like that time period where he's kind of like working in corporate America, and he's doing what he can for the man so he can kind of fit in, and he wants to have that life, and he's kind of raised that way, but he's a product of those times. But he's not necessarily a bad guy. And I like that. Little shit like that makes a difference for me. Little shit like that. They could have wrote this guy to just be a total moron, and then it would have been whatever. We want to root for her to get away from him. But just keep that in mind when you watch it. You'll see. Maybe you agree with me. Maybe you won't. I don't know. Let me know in the comments. But anyway, yeah. And the performances here, the acting in this movie. Tessa Thompson, I will say this now. I find this woman to be completely adorable. She's sexy and cute at the same time. That's hard to pull off on a movie. She fit in beautiful in that early 60s era, the costume design. I love that particular era. So for me, this pulled a few strings. Like, I think that women just back then, they just dressed better. If you look at the elegance of women dressed back then, the way they wore clothing, it's beautiful to look at. They were so classy. Even the hose was classy back then. The gloves and the whole thing, and just the way they took care of themselves. And just now it's a whole different fucking story. But I find that time period to be exceptionally appealing. The 60s, and women, listen, if you listen to this, women, that 60s thing, look at that. Like even the Queen's Gambit. You look at the Queen's Gambit. I haven't gotten to that yet on this channel, but I'm going to get to it eventually. But the Queen's Gambit, another one takes place in like the 60s, and that time frame and the clothing, the dresses that women wore, they were way more sexy than the half-naked shit that women are wearing nowadays. Going on a tangent, but just stay with me. The acting I think is great. And this brother was like, this guy, the main brother that plays Robert, Nnamdi Asomugha, this guy, I looked him up. He's a football player. He's like an ex-football player. Played on the Raiders, and he's like highly ranked on the Raiders. Not like a guy that played football, barely made it to the NFL, was riding the bench, and then decided to, he got dropped and then decided to become an actor. No, this guy had like a legit career in the NFL. So I thought that was interesting. Guy came out of nowhere. Now he's doing movies with Tessa Thompson. Fuck it. God bless you. Here's to you, dude. Who's better than you? So anyway, that's Sylvie's love story. It's a good fucking love story. It's a good romance. And talking about fucking, the romance here is well done. It's filmed nice. The cinematography is nice. The lighting is nice. There's no, the love scene is sexy and beautiful. It's not over the top. It's nothing wrong. It's beautiful to look at. This is just good quality, beautiful black people up on screen doing good quality, beautiful black people shit and falling in love. That's what it is. Sylvie's Love on Amazon. My recommendation on Film Fan. If you agree with me, then let me know in the comments. If you think I'm out of my fucking mind, let me know in the comments. Hit the like button either way. And if you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button. See you on the next Film Fan.